two, one. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Ali Krupnik is a certified wellness coach, peak performance expert, and the founder of MyWellCo. Her programs are designed for busy entrepreneurs and professionals who want to bring their A game to work and their life. She works with her clients on actionable steps, helping them build micro habits and make small changes that make a big difference. Her work has helped her clients reach their wellness breakthroughs so that they feel better, live better, and have more of what they want in their lives. Ali, it's a pleasure to welcome you to IdeaMix Radio today.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
So Ali, tell us a little bit about you and how you came to become a wellness coach.
Yeah, sure. So I was in the corporate world doing the hustle for like 10 plus years, experiencing a ton of burnout and was getting like chronic migraines. And I and I was like on a personal passion to really figure out how to heal myself without using medication, how to get rid of these migraines. And it was just like a long lasting battle. And I moved to LA to be an event director during the pandemic and everything shut down. And my migraines at that point were super bad and my stress was like at an all-time high. And I thought, you know what, this is my chance. And this is kind of like the silver lining during the pandemic to really go all in and kind of take this wellness journey and make it a career. So at that point, I decided to go all in, get my LLC and go full time in wellness and really helping people who have similar stories to mine, where maybe experience a lot of burnout and have these like medical issues that they may be struggling with and they want to make a change and really help them.
I love it that you converted what was a real challenge, taking up a new event director job during the pandemic or just as it got underway, into a real opportunity for yourself. And as you said, to use the learnings from your own personal journey to actually help others. Because as you and I both know, there are so many people, especially women, in this situation where we have been conditioned to seek and want it all and sort of been told our whole lives that we absolutely can and must have it all. And there are a series of compromises we make along the way, right? Like putting our mental health and wellness into a box and suppressing that while we're on sort of this upward trajectory of the next job and the marriage and the next move and the next goal, basically. And so it's wonderful that you were able to really take what was a tough set of circumstances and turn them to your advantage and have such an impact on others.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was definitely a challenge, but I think it taught me a lot about resilience. And I feel like I really can relate to like people who are struggling too. It just felt like a really great learning opportunity and a very pivotal point in my personal health and wellness journey where like on that, I like went off all my migraine medications, like reduced my stress. And it was kind of like a really big like aha moment for myself.
So here's how you described how you work with clients. Let's take a quick look.
Hi there, I'm Ali. I am a certified health and wellness coach and peak performance expert, and I coach busy entrepreneurs and professionals who want to bring their A game to life and work. So let's work together to help you feel better, live better, and get more out of what you want out of life. And listen, I am not about giving you a long list of to-dos. Rather, I believe in measurable progress and daily wins. I want to be your partner in helping you achieve your wellness breakthrough so you can start feeling better today. Listen, I know how frustrating it can be to navigate the wellness trends. Do this, do that. Every day it literally feels like it's something new. Trust me, I've been there and I get it. Overcoming my own health challenges, I know firsthand what works and what doesn't when it comes to wellness for busy people. I am obsessed with being at my best and helping you get your wellness edge in a simple and sustainable way. So that's a little bit about me, and I so look forward to meeting you. Talk soon. Bye.
So Ali, I want to pick up on something you said in the video. You're working with your clients so that they feel better and live better. But that happened in the course of overcoming your own challenges. When you're working with clients, do you find that they're facing very similar challenges to the ones you faced? Are they quite different? Do they span a wide range? Tell us a little about that.
The common denominator is that something's not working and people are ready to make a change, but they don't know how. And a lot of times it could come from a source of not being fulfilled in what you're doing and not knowing your purpose. It could be just like pure fatigue and exhaustion where just like you feel like you have nothing left to give. It could be like a similar journey, like medically, like mine with migraines. But I think like the common denominator, it just kind of like they've tried a lot of wellness things before that haven't worked for them. And similar to me, like you bought everything on the shelves, you looked for that magic pill, you've tried X, Y, and Z diet, and it doesn't work. And my approach is really about like simple and sustainable solutions using science and micro habits to really make things stick. And that's generally a piece that people are excited about because it's very easy to implement, easy to start.
Are your clients, would you say they're of a particular type? Are they mostly women? Are they also men? Do they fall into a particular age demographic? Do they tend to be working professionals, or are some of them also stay-at-home moms? How would you describe them?
Yeah, it's definitely a range, but I would say more in like the millennial, older millennial category, and a little bit more female, but definitely some men too. And the people who are really coachable, I would say, who like are ready to make a change, ready to like don't have as much resistance to change. And then generally they're kind of more of like the high achievers, like go-getters. So it's generally like a entrepreneurial mindset or like a C-suite, anything in between.
Got it. I love the term coachable. And it's a question that we confront all the time, both in our direct-to-consumer business, but also in our B2B business where we work with employees at companies. And I think for every coach, it's hugely frustrating to work with somebody who isn't coachable because it just feels like you're sort of beating your head against a wall. And it's that classic thing of you can take a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. How do you determine that in your clients? What are some of the things that you look for? And how do you think your clients come to the conclusion that they need to work with a coach?
Yeah, I think the most important piece about coaching and the biggest reward from it is that like accountability piece. So a lot of people will come to me when like you know the things to do, but you're not doing it because you're not holding yourself accountable. So you need someone else to help you be accountable. So I think with coaching, like it just helps you get there faster. Like it's not like rocket science. It's not things that you haven't heard before. It's just helping to be your partner and like setting aside that time and knowing that you have someone who's going to be checking up on you. And then I think
it's a lot like working with the physical trainer, right?
Exactly.
Which people have been doing for decades at this point. And it's not that any of us can't go to the gym and work out on our own. It's that for many of us, it's way more effective when we're doing it with a trainer.
Totally. And I think you just need to like the two things for coachability, I would say, is one, just having a time block, like knowing that you're able to dedicate time. Like if it's someone who wants to make a change, but is really resistant to changing their schedule to find more time to do it, it doesn't work, because anything that you need to work on, like you need to implement it into your life. So I think like that time block, and then it's really like a mental piece, like trying to like understand through that first conversation, like what their limiting beliefs are and helping them overcome those. And then if you're able to kind of like unlock a piece of that in that initial session, then you're on a good path.
Makes a ton of sense. You talked a little bit in this short video about some of the techniques that you use to work with your clients. Let's take a quick look.
Hi, I'm Allie. Question for you. Do you start your day responding to everyone else's needs rather than your own? Are you feeling like you're constantly on the edge of burnout? Do you control your own calendar, or do you feel like your calendar controls you? We have to put our own oxygen mask on first before we serve anyone else. But I totally understand that is easier said than done. So I'm here to help. Let's get you back in control of your own life. Together, we will design a practical, sustainable morning routine that actually works for you and excites you. The result is a more productive, energetic, less stressed version of yourself. And the secret is leveraging the power of micro habits that will make a huge difference for you without the overwhelm. Welcome to Wellness Made Simple. Let's have a virtual coffee. I would love to meet you and talk about your wellness goals and help you achieve your wellness breakthroughs so you can live your best life. Talk soon.
So one of the things, Allie, that you addressed was the importance of micro habits and making wellness simple. And I think both of those are such interesting concepts. There's been so much research now on micro habits and the importance of them for anybody really at any age and stage of their lives, applied to such a variety of different realms. Tell me a little bit about how you work with your clients to help them understand the importance of micro habits and how to implement them in their daily lives.
Yeah. So I think micro habits is really unique, and it's definitely something that people are picking up on, because the whole concept of it is that you're going to do just one thing every day, and you're going to make it so simple that you're setting yourself up for success, and there's no way you can like fail at it. So I think that a lot of times we get like over ambitious and we set ourselves up for failure by having a whole long list of things that we're going to try to do on a Monday when we've never done it before. And then we set ourselves up for failure, and then it's really hard to recover from that. So the beauty with the micro habits is that once you do it, you get this like dopamine rush that you've achieved it. And then you get the momentum to continue and to continue to spring forward. And even though they're little, you're just getting that even as small as 1% better every day. And it really has this momentum to really move forward.
So what's an example of a correctly framed micro habit versus one that might not be achievable or might not be a good construct?
Yeah. So if you decide that you want to work out more, and then on day one, you try to say you're going to run 3 miles at 8:00 in the morning, and you're not a morning person, like something like that is very difficult to go right out the bat. So I think it's about giving yourself some grace. So for that, maybe it's you're going to set up your shoes right next to your bed the night before. You have your whole outfit ready. You know exactly what time you're going to wake up, and maybe you just put your shoes on and you go for one walk around the block. And then that's it. Like it could take 3 minutes. It could take 5 minutes, really simple. And then people say, okay, well, I'm not going to like change my life from that. As like, yes, but that momentum will. And you'll also apply that momentum in various forms of your life. And I think too, with like habits that people like, making your bed isn't going to change your life. Like that's a great morning routine, but that piece individually isn't really going to do anything for you. So I really like to challenge people to think of like, okay, what are actual habits what's the greater purpose and how is that helping? How are you achieving that greater purpose through those micro habits through your morning routine?
So it might be that to speak to your example for a second, making your bed is not in and of itself a super important thing, but it might make you start the day feeling more organized and ordered in your life, right?
Yep.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And do you feel that when people struggle with developing a wellness practice, because it encompasses so many different realms, right? It's what you eat, when you eat, do you exercise? What do you do for exercise? There might be something you do on the mindfulness front that is a couple minutes of meditation a day to help sort of regroup and center yourself. Do you sleep enough? There's such a mix of things, and it's so peculiar to each person's life and the stage of life that they're at. If you had to sort of describe the framework that you think about wellness through, what would that be, or what would the elements be?
Yeah, I think I categorize it really into mind, body, soul, and setting. And with mind, I think that's the number one, because I think once you have a strong mindset and you kind of like look at the world in a way where you're in control of your actions and your feelings and you have the power to have a different outlook, I think the rest of it kind of falls into place. Body would be food and movement. Soul would really be about like relationships and consciousness. And then setting is like the environment around you, because it directly impacts how you feel, how you live your life. And yeah, so those are kind of like the 4 pillars.
I like those. So it's a perfect opportunity to dive into a little mini Coach Me session. So it's wonderful for our listeners, I think, to get a sense of how you work with your clients and how you are as a coach. So pretend I'm a client of yours and you're meeting me for the first time and we're kicking off.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so awesome to meet you. Thanks for setting up this conversation. I like to just start with just understanding a little bit about you and what your current morning routine looks like.
My morning routine is generally that I wake up feeling I haven't had enough sleep, probably around 7. And I don't feel like I've ever really particularly been a morning person, but that's the schedule. And I will generally spend some time with my children, will make myself some, like a green juice and some tea in the morning. And that's definitely a part of my morning ritual. Like a morning doesn't feel like it started right unless I've done those 2 things. Mm-hmm. And I really like having some time to myself. So our kids have gone off, maybe my husband's gone off, and I've just got, even if it's 10 minutes to myself to just sort of get dressed, get organized for the day, think about the day, and then get started.
Yeah, cool. I love how you take some time to yourself in the morning. That's really important. And definitely a good foundation of a solid morning routine, because I definitely feel that if you set your morning up for success, it kind of piggybacks into the rest. What's the difference between your morning routine right now and then what your like dream morning routine would be? And why do you think like there's a gap in between those?
So my dream morning routine would be that I wake up earlier and that I have already done whatever form of exercise for the day, because part of I love to exercise and I do a real mix of things, all of which are wonderful. but it's hard to get that in during the day. Sometimes I manage and we'll go at lunchtime or we'll find time at 6 or whatever, but that doesn't happen consistently. And on the days that it doesn't happen, it becomes a source of frustration. And so in an ideal world, I would love to wake up earlier, go do whatever it is, yoga class, go to the gym, whatever the activity is, and then sort of come back and start the rest of the morning feeling like I've both had that time to myself, but also gotten the kind of combination exercise, mindfulness piece out of the way,
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So I think then what our objective would be over the next 90 days is we're kind of like really going to break down that block of time in the morning and look at how you're currently spending it. And then we're going to take one aspect of it. And if movement's really important and you think like that's what would be a really helpful first step, we're going to look at different ways to incorporate movement directly into your morning routine by time blocking it out. And then we can look at things from the rest of your day that will help lend itself to setting your morning up to success. And then we're just going to do really small steps throughout this time program. And if it doesn't work, we can change it and we don't have to be locked into it. And we're going to find a way to incorporate that and get you from A to B. And then I'm going to be your accountability coach throughout the way to make sure that you are holding yourself accountable and texting you and reaching out to make sure that what we talk about for your new morning routine and the small, tiny steps that we're taking to get to your dream one are aligning.
Okay, that sounds good. I think having you follow up with me and hold me accountable with some reminders and things will actually make me do the thing rather than sort of push it off and say, well, not today, maybe tomorrow.
Yes. And then one tip I can give you is, I'm not sure if you do this already, but I always recommend as like a starting point is sleeping with your phone on airplane mode. If you can, you could keep the Wi-Fi on if you need to, if anyone needs to like call or whatever. And then there's a setting where you could do like emergency calls. And challenging yourself to not look at your phone for the first at least hour of your day and allowing yourself to really be present and not looking at it right away, because a lot of us will wake up and the first thing we do is look, we scroll. And then what happens with that is that automatically right off the bat, we are letting whatever we see like subconsciously or consciously affect our mood and what we're thinking immediately right off the bat. And we're more sensitive and more easily triggered at that time because we're just waking up. So I challenge you to maybe think about what your phone use in the morning is like, and then really trying to like not look at it for the first hour at least and seeing how that feels as well.
So it's such an interesting point that you raised, because I felt that I was quite good about this until probably a year into the pandemic when my kids went back to school, and every morning would start with me waking up and leaping for my phone in a total state of stress because I had to get these forms filled out so they could go to school that day. And that's really when looking at my phone the first thing in the morning became the habit, and all these sort of sources of stress would start to percolate of, I didn't respond to that email and I didn't, and it would sort of just set me in a weird place psychologically.
Yep. Totally. Yeah. And it really sticks with you throughout the entire day. And I even gone to a lot of people use phone as their alarm clocks. I've gotten like an actual alarm clock. I don't use that like obnoxious ringer for my phone. It's called Lofty, and it wakes you up with like chirping birds. It's very modern, and they have like pink noise and brown noise and all the things. But like that in and of itself is really helpful in like being present, not giving yourself an immediate like stress right off the bat. That's another tip.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
So Annie, one last question before we wrap up. and this came into my mind as we were talking, do you feel there's so much research and so much in the news now about how the pandemic and this post-pandemic period have, I mean, particularly for, I think, teens and young adults, but really across the board, has affected everyone's mental health in some way or another. And more and more people are struggling with mental health issues coming out of this. Are you seeing that in your practice with your clients as well, that you're just seeing more people struggling with things that they may not have been struggling with pre-pandemic?
Totally. I think it's kind of caused our bodies to kind of live in this state of like fear and uncertainty, and feeling like it's really hard to make progress. And so there's like an extremely large mental block that is heightened because of the pandemic. So it's definitely like working through that for sure. It's definitely been a topic of conversation. I always recommend silencing yourself from the news as much as possible, and really like looking at how much intake you are having of those external surroundings and limiting it, if not eliminating it. Obviously, like, you need to stay up to date as much as possible. So like, that's not living under a rock. But really helping to educate and help understand that how much that, a lot of times people just don't realize like how much that is, they're internalizing it. So helping to educate on that piece and provide suggestions of how to get out of that, and like small mental shifts along the way.
Amazing. Excellent advice. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening today. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, please do review the show. We love hearing from you. So email us at info@theideamix.com or Instagram DM us. Our episode this week was produced by the incomparable Martin Milewski, with music by the awesome Nashville-based singer-songwriter Doug Allen. You can learn more about Doug at dougallenmusic.com.